Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you all kindly for joining me as always. This is for Monday. It's the 29th of April 2024. So, right off to begin with, I came across this story. They're talking about coffee prices about to soar because they're suffering some supply issues and it's driving it too high. So, maybe I'll have to change this to welcome to tea. We'll see. Until then, let's get into the market. So we've got the MMR as our main risk indicator. Now this has retreated 303.8 at the moment. However, it's still in extreme territory. So we are going to be watching, of course, as always, the 10-year yield, which is at 4.629 right now. So also down a bit, and the relative strength of the dollar below 106 again. So we've got the fear greed index heading ever so slightly more towards the greed, which is the buy zone. So, a lot that happened last week, kind of pushing things forward. We're seeing more volatility in these markets, and I expect more again. I'm a little surprised that there was not a major event this weekend. It really feels like, with everything going on, there was some major movement. We'll go over that in a bit. But really, Monday is the calm before the storm. There's not a lot of financial reports coming out today, even though it is a huge week. So we've got the Fed coming up, as we were speaking about, and then a lot of big earnings. So let's go a little more into this. At this moment, Asian markets did very well prior to the US markets open. Pre-markets looking green at the moment. This is a bit early. And we're also looking at futures with convergence with this, showing some strength into buying as well. So, as I said with the calendar, there's really no reports or major data that's coming out that we can look forward to today. Tomorrow, we are getting employment cost index prior to market open, and then also looking at the home price index. So, for earnings today, these are the ones that we're watching. And then also, if you want to prepare your portfolios for what is trading prior to market open tomorrow. So, main ones being PayPal, Coca Cola, if you are invested in that. And we've also got Sirius and a few others that are coming in, McDonald's. So, going forward, what we're watching today. So I thought this was interesting the way that they worded this, but Fortune saying US economy is actually a wolf in sheep's clothing and saying that the GDP is showing basically that there's no underlying strength. So kind of what we've been talking about for some time, that even though it appears as though there's strength on the surface and the mainstream media is talking about how strong it is, there's nothing underlying it. So there's no strength or structure to the movements that have been going on other than pure inflation. So, with that, I want to talk about Tesla really quickly because it will be a mover today. So, the reports about China data security, um, basically, he's cleared that hurdle. He's looking at taking the self driving software over to China. And it's got a partnership deal going on with Baidu, which is a major company over there. So this should give them quite the boost. So I want to make of note that the self-driving software is basically what would separate um, Tesla from a lot of other driving companies going into China. So with that, we've also got this convergent story about tractor trailers being self-driving in the future. Well, if these are going to be on the road in the future, they're going to really need to come along with their safety measures, having these huge loaded trucks on with civilian vehicles, so to speak. So we'll see how that goes. So moving into the real economy, we've got this story coming out: almost 10,000 fast food jobs in California that dropped after the $20 an hour minimum wage was signed. So, forcing companies to pay too much for the labor. This is basically how government intervention works out. It just doesn't. So, pushing them to pay, they either go out of business or they find a way around it. So now we've got a lot of people which are out of work, and this is kind of the drive behind it all. But that didn't work out so well. So we were talking about auto insurance, but the home insurance crisis beginning to hit as well. So more in some states than others, namely Florida and California are the worst hit. We're also going to watch some of this hitting across the southwest, southeast. There was inclement weather, and I've got words about that as well. It's not completely natural. We've got some very bizarre, major, catastrophic storms coming across the areas, particularly Texas, Alabama, Arkansas, some tornadoes. So you'll see those in the news as well. So, kind of sticking back with the markets, we've got, uh, after the economy, we've got commodities. So, I want to talk about oil. Prices have basically leveled out. They're talking about a ceasefire with Hamas. I think there's going to be some headwinds with that. We'll see what happens with that. So oil could drop. It's having a bit of weakness in the charts at the moment. We'll see what happens. And with these sanctions and everything going on, it's having another interesting effect. We've got Venezuela is accelerating their shift to cryptocurrencies because they've got oil sanctions going on. So moving to cryptocurrencies allows them to basically trade off the system of petrodollars. And we're going to watch how this works out. So, along with this, we've got Canada's top guy here proposing 67% capital gains tax for stocks and cryptocurrencies. So, this could be huge and wipe out quite a lot of businesses that are basically dependent upon these areas. So, whenever these types of massive taxes are proposed, they never show. It's more like a pebble you throw into a pond, the ripples go out from it. There's a lot of businesses and companies that support and are supported by um, basically these two sectors, specifically stocks, that would take a major hit if this is passed. So we'll be watching what happens with Canada. So moving over to lending in the banks, there was a huge move, and this was such a stealth move that I'm sure you'll hear about this. It's moving across everything, and it's Japan's yen. We've been speaking about them for some time now. So they jumped against the dollar. There's suspected intervention because afterwards it plummeted. So their central bank is suspected of stepping in. However, they're not admitting to anything. So, because they're staying behind the scenes with all this kind of cloak and dagger type of approach to this, it's causing more of a ruckus really than it should. So, this is how things happen now. It's completely managed markets, including currencies. This does play into the currency wars. However, we're going to just kind of roll with how this is going and understand that that can have an effect on the markets at an instant. So, want to go back to the Fulton Financial. Now, this was the bank that purchased the failing Republic First Bank. This is the first bank failure of the year, and it just kind of shows that how they're structuring this. There's a lot underlying with this as well. You purchase a failed bank, and their shares skyrocket. So we'll keep that in mind as well. We've also got this almost not worth mentioning because it's just tremendously inflationary and the overreach and overspending of the United States government. But they're bringing up the fiscal year 2025 defense budget. It's practically a joke, uh, ramping up after security supplemental finish. So, will we watch this? We know what they're going to do, spend more. They're going to continue with all of these wars, and it will be inflationary. So, into the trade wars directly, we've got France now calling for the European Union to take nuclear force with everything going on. So, with this, there's talk about British troops being tasked with delivering Gaza aid. Now, this is because the US administration said that there would be no American boots on the ground. And on the other side, we're being told that if British military forces do set ground there, that they will be targeted. So very dangerous, kind of ramping up. So, with that, we've got Harvard University and all of the protests going on here. They are raising the Palestinian flag over the United States flag. So, this is internal takeover that should not be allowed as a country. Basically, it's not allowed, but it's not being enforced. So, with that, I'd like to go into one thing really quickly, just bring up chamomile. If you want to grow something in your garden, it does have a lot of benefits. As you can see, it's antioxidant, anti inflammatory, super easy to grow, cute flower. Use it in teas, and this is a list of the things that they typically use this for. So, just wanted to end on a positive note. Wish you all green on your trading day. If you are trading, if not, just a wonderful day in general. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.